Hello everyone, it's Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel, I should say. Thank you to our subscribers. Thank you to our new subscribers. Lovely to see you. Thank you to our long-term subscribers. It's lovely to see you too. And I have noticed we're getting very close to our 500 subscribers, which is fantastic. I'm so delighted. And when we get there, when we reach that 500, I'm going to be giving 2 giveaways. And originally, in an earlier post, I did say 1, but we will be giving 2 giveaways. But more about that when we get there. So as promised in my last video, I'm going to do a project based or inspired by this box set. But to keep it general, if you haven't got this set, we are going to use the papers mainly, but using the papers, you can use any papers. You don't have to use these papers to make this particular style. So it's the style of card we're going for rather than the actual detail. And you can make this style of card with any papers you've got. Oh, that's oh, sorry. That was my glue stick I just knocked over, but it's all right. We're still good. I'm going to use the embossing folder, which is a 4x4, but you can use any embossing folder you've got. And if you haven't got a 4x4, you can cut it once you've embossed your design. You can easily cut it down to 4x4, but I'd suggest you emboss it first and then cut it down if you're going to do that. I've had disasters and seen other people's disasters where they try to do it the other way, and it has been a disaster. So if you haven't got this embossing folder, or you haven't got a 4x4, use whatever you've got. If you've got a 5x7 or a 6x4, emboss it as it is and then cut it down to a 4x4. But that's what we're going to, as this one is a 4x4 and that's the size I need, I'm going to use this one. And as I say, I'm going to use papers from the set. So I'm just going to pop that down on the floor because I haven't got my trolley with me anymore. Well, I have, but it's filled up with my files. We are going to make, let me just pull you in a little bit. We are going to make a 6x6 card. This is just ordinary it's ordinary cardstock. Actually, it's not ordinary cardstock, it's cartridge paper. But it doesn't matter, it's heavyweight cartridge paper. I rarely use traditional cardstock. I usually use watercolour paper. But I'm running a bit low on watercolour paper, so I decided to use heavyweight cartridge paper instead, which is a similar texture and thickness to traditional cardstock. So there you go, bit of a tip for you. And if you buy the cartridge paper, it's a bit cheaper or less expensive than buying the packs. Even the ready-made cardstock can be a bit expensive. So if you get the cartridge paper, which is roughly, especially the heavyweight, it's roughly the same thickness. So bit of an economy tip for you. So we're going to make that, we're going to use that, and you will need 8 pieces of paper, 8 squares of paper that measure 2 3/4 inches roughly. And we're going to do a bit of tea bag folding. Now don't panic. Some people panic when they hear the word tea bag folding because they think it's going to be difficult, and sometimes it can be ridiculously intricate. Not when I do it. So we're going to just make this relatively simple. Now the first thing you need to do, and this first part is just a guide. I'll just pop that to one side. You are going to need to fold it that way, so that the 2 corners meet, and give it a bit of a score. This is only a guide because we need to find the centre. And then we're going to open it up and we're going to fold it the other way. Do the same thing. Make sure that the corners meet like that. Give it a bit of a score so that you can see the centre, especially if you're using... Now, another thing I should have said at the beginning, if you are going to do tea bag folding, it's a good idea, or it's more effective, if you use a double-sided, so you've got a pattern on both sides, because both sides will show. And then you need to decide which side you're having on top. So I'm actually going to have it like that to begin with. So that would normally be my underside, but I'll show you why we're going to do it that way. This is a very easy fold. All we're going to do, let me just bring you in just a tiny bit closer so that you can see what I'm doing. But it's not difficult, I promise. And with tea bag folding, what you don't do, you don't glue it down. We can glue the finished piece down, but when we fold it, you don't glue the folds down, you leave them up. But of course you can if you want to. On this channel, there's no hard and fast rules. You do what you like. I do. So what we're going to do, we're going to take that corner and we're going to fold it into the middle. Give it a press with your fingers. You don't have to use tools. There's no tools for this. And then take this part and bend it back on itself so that it just goes to the outer edge like that. And we're going to turn it round like that. And again, take it to the middle like that. Fold it down. Take that part and fold it back. Try and keep it fairly straight. It doesn't matter if it's not absolutely accurate or absolutely in line. So again, we're going to do this 4 times. So fold it down, give it a bit of a crease, take this part, bend it back. I was trying to do it so you can still see. And again, give it a crease, and one more time. We're going to fold it into the middle. So folding it over in half, then in half again, gives us a guide to where the middle is, which I find that does help. If you think you can do it without, then that's absolutely fine. And when you've done that, you will have a piece that looks like that. And you will need to do this 8 times. I'm not going to make you sit there and watch me do it 8 times, because you probably die of boredom. But although it's more interesting to do it 8 times than it is to sit and watch somebody else do it 8 times. So I've already done the other 7. So I just did 1 to show you how to do it. So let's just slide you out a little bit so that you can see how we're going to assemble this. And because this is only paper, when we're doing tea bag folding, we generally use paper. You can use card if you want to, but it's actually more effective if you use paper, and it's easier to fold, of course. And what we're going to do, we're going to turn it over. Because we're only using paper, I'm going to use my glue stick. And what we're going to do, we're going to do this in real time together so that you can see it building up. Especially if you've never seen this type of thing before, it can be quite fun to watch the build up. So we're going to put our first one down there, and of course if you use glue, you've got time to get it into place. So what we could actually do, we could just put our glue on there like that. That might make the process go a bit quicker. And then sit it down, make sure that they're touching like that, and then we'll have another piece lined up like, oh, that needs to come across a bit. So you will need to make sure that they're more or less, the first one is more or less tucked into the corner. So there is your first bit. So you'll see the pattern building up. So we're going to carry on doing that. So we'll do this bit down here. Just again, put some glue. You'll see what we're going to do in the middle when we get there. Won't take long. So once you've built up, or you've made up, all of your tea bag folding pieces, you just arrange them how you want them. Of course, you don't have to arrange them like this. If you've got an idea, or your own idea, how you want them arranged, or if you want slightly less and you want them in a triangle, or however you want them. This is just a guide. This is just a guide to get you started, if you like, if you've never done tea bag style folding before. And just a little bit of history about tea bag folding while we're sitting here chatting, doing this. So, several people have asked, I've done tea bag folding in the past on this channel, but not for a long time. And then people were asking, why is it called tea bag folding? Which is an excellent question. Someone said, oh, sorry to ask a stupid question. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If there's something you need to know, it's not stupid, or you'd like to know. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Not on this channel. So don't ever be afraid to ask questions. If you see something I'm doing, or you've even seen something someone else is doing, and you're too afraid to ask them, or unsure, ask me. To me, there's no such thing as a stupid question. But to get back to this history part, it was done many hundreds of years ago by Chinese ladies. Their tea bags used to come in very pretty little paper bags, and the ladies used to cut the bags down and make patterns and use them to make greeting cards, which was probably one of the first greeting cards that were made. So that's why they're called that's why it's called tea bag folding. So there you go. So if you've not heard that story before, that's it in a nutshell, really. A potted history, if you like. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to use our embossed image. Now I have used the one from the set. But as I said in the beginning, you can use whatever you like. You can use whatever embossing folder you like. Just emboss it as it is to its size that it is and cut it down. And you know what, I should have got some adhesive, but do you know what? We are going to have a go, because this is quite a strong glue, so we're going to have a go at gluing it down with this and hope to goodness it sticks. I've used mirror card just to give it a bit of oomph, just to make it stand out a bit more. And what happens is if you arrange it like that, what happens is once you don't completely obliterate it, but once you stick it down, you get this lovely 3D frame around your card, around your central image. If you want to stick that down, if the bits that are standing up are driving you absolutely nuts and you think, I can't cope with that, I need to stick it down, of course, by all means, stick it down. But if you don't stick it down, or if you choose not to, you get this lovely 3D frame all the way around your central image. And the only other thing I've used, again, I've used a couple of the papers. I've used one of the squares from the papers and one of the sentiments. Now, I did have to cut the sentiment down because it did have a lovely classical style leaf, almost like a laurel leaf around it, but that doesn't fit in this circle. But to be fair, it might not have been designed to do that, so which could be the reason it didn't. So to make it fit, I have had to cut the leaves off and just cut a, well, sort of circle. It's not exactly a circle, but we don't worry about that on this channel. And to finish off, again, I'm going to use my glue, because this is a strong glue, so and we're only sticking down paper, so it should be okay. And we can stick that down like that, and hope to goodness we've got it the right way around. That would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Yes, we have. Phew! I usually check it at the beginning before I start, and I didn't this time, so that was a bit of luck. It's the right way around. So even with the cartridge paper, as you can see, it stands really nicely. And there is our card. If you wanted to stick that down a bit more, you can, but I quite like it slightly raised. I quite like that raised look. But if you want to stick this down a bit more, you can put some foam pads or some stronger glue. I would suggest foam pads and just stick it down, or some foam tape or double-sided tape or something like that. But I'm quite happy with it like that. I quite like it sticking up a little bit. So there we go, guys. There is our greeting card made with various papers that either we've got from a set or we've got laying around in our stash. So I hope that's inspired you to get out your papers, whatever sets you've got or whatever combinations of collections you've got, and have a go yourself. And in the meantime, do take care. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. When you come back, I'll show you the next stage of the doll sale. So there are only 2 more stages to show you. And then we'll get back to another project. And so until next time, again, thank you for watching. Take care, have fun, and as always, happy crafting. Bye-bye for now.